So to be honest, this is actually the second video I've shot on this. There's a lovely looking one from Ilkley Moor, but I was just reeling off numbers and all that nonsense, which, you know, is what I should do in a bike review, but I was just missing the point. Because primarily this is a bike that totally outrides its numbers. I mean, you could get a 160mm Whyte for pretty much the same weight. Only difference, the fork and damper weight, really. And 15.3 kilos for a 140 bike. Pretty sturdy, but oh damn, it's just the fact this bike just rides so superbly. It just feels like it's been custom made and custom tuned for me right from the very first turn and pedal stroke. That's what matters about this T140. So to be honest, go make a cup of tea now if you want, but probably I'd better go through the due diligence on just why I think it's that good. My name's Guy Kesterman. I've been a professional bike and kit reviewer for 25 years. And this video is sponsored by Giro Cycling UK, PE's Crud, and Whyte have put some money behind the editing and filming of it as well. But they know, like you know, that means they're just going to get full on honesty. So for a start, this is an alloy frame for the price of a carbon frame in a similar bike from some online brands. And they've done a really dirty trick by putting an NX cassette on it, which means an HG free hub and a little bit of hidden weight. So there you go. They clearly didn't pay me to say that. But if that's going to put you off, you are missing out on one of the best riding, best put together mid-travel bikes I've ever had the pleasure of testing. Well, to be honest, it's not so much testing on this thing, it's just sheer enjoyment. This is a world exclusive on Whyte's brand new T140 RS. Right, so now we've established that this bike just feels like it's made for you from the very start. How's that happening? Well, you've got 64.7 degree head angle in the slack mode, goes up to 65.3 in steeper, BBs just over 330 in low, 338 I think in high, back end 430mm, so super short in classic Whyte style, and a 480mm reach. And then you got, unlike most of the Whyte range, it actually is 140 both ends. It's not 140, 130. It's a Fox 34 fork on the front though, so relatively light, relatively skinny, but it's performance elite, so all the same damping adjustment as factory setup, just without the gold legs. And you got a float DPS inline shock on the rear. But the crucial thing about that rear shock is the custom tuning it, which Whyte went through, as their design team put it, a whole pandemic of tuning time, getting it right. 10 different shock tunes they worked through on this back end, and that's mostly been done by Sam Shucksmith. And if that name sounds familiar, he's not only Whyte's lead designer on the mountain bikes, he's also Enduro National Series champion for the past 2 years, National Enduro champion this year, and he actually won Southern Enduro Championship on this bike, which is a pretty big, I don't know if it's a flex or a risk. You know, if you've got a G180 bike and a T160 bike, both of which slacker, rowdier, more travel, more grip, but you rock up for a championship race on your prototype 140mm trail bike, that's a pretty stout show, isn't it? And win. Fair play. But to be honest, that's how this bike makes you feel. You know, because obviously this bike has a lot to live up to. It's basically the spiritual successor of the legendary T-130C, the bike I did my first live ride review of for Geico's TV way back when, and a bike that still gets a ton of attention. I regularly get people going, oh yeah, I've got a chance to get an old T-130C like that one you reviewed, and I'm like, yes mate, go for it, because the balance of that was just all time. And Whyte confessed themselves they wanted to make this mid-travel 29er for a long time, but they've just not had, they've basically not had the investment to do it. But now they've got brand new set, investment, and this is the first bike they can wheel out. It's kind of such a signature dish for them. They've clearly put so much into it. So the people asking whether there's a carbon version coming, yes there is, but you'll have to be a bit patient on those. I mean, it's slightly confusing because there is a carbon T-140 at the moment, but that's the older 27.5 bike. This is an all new frame. Back end shares elements with the T160, but even the dropouts are new. The front end very new, and the whole tube set is kind of just made carefully put together to really flatter this level of riding. I mean, it's pretty skinny considering how much it weighs, and even that Fox 34, I was thinking maybe a 36 would be better. But actually, if there's a gap, please, mate. Oh, cheers, love. Thanks a lot. Actually, the way that 34mm chassis and the frame work together just feels holistically superb. It just feels totally balanced and curated, from the tyre carcass on this EXO front, EXO plus rear, 2.5, 2.4, right through to these custom Whyte grips. Just giving me all the feels. Not too rigid, just playful and lively and buoyant. Just a great feel for enhancing grip, carrying speed, and kind of just letting loose from the get-go. So although it's not as sharp out of turns, you've probably turned tighter, carried more speed as you've gone around the corner. If anything, I just keep turning inside, that slightly slacker head angle, shorter stem. It's properly mowing the apexes on this run. Just mate, absolute, just a great bike. It's another one of the ones that makes no sense on paper, but just feels awesome on the trail. I know it's becoming a bit of a cliche for this channel, but for the money, this has to be one of the best. Gotta be. I mean, it definitely feels like 15 kilos now with 2.5 inch front tyre, but it's a horribly tenacious climber. And ultimately more, the other night it just would not stop. Which way? Next one?
Next one, yeah.
But in low, you do have to watch a bit for pedal clearance. That bottom bracket is pretty low for 140mm, but you're getting 170 cranks as standard, and while it's not super steep, 76 degrees is the steepest Whyte have gone with the seat angle, so poise for seated climbing is spot on, and just that patter and smoothness through the back end, so much traction. You'll actually wish it slipped on extended techie climbs. So yeah, shouldn't climb well, which is more about getting to the top than the time, even on the trickiest terrain. And this T-140, it's an absolute, oh, it's a swine. It's killing me. So, as I said at the start, you know, you could get Canyon Spectral CF8 that I've been riding alongside today for very similar money. And it's got that NX cassette on the back, which is, you know, a dirty trick when it comes to upgrading. But in terms of actual ride vibe, this is the bike I've been wanting to ride, even though it's a kilo heavier than that Spectral. Even on climbs, techie climbs, it's the Whyte I've been wanting to jump on. And it just feels, I think I've said it several times now, but it just feels straight away like a bike that's been custom designed, custom tuned to just ride perfectly for me. And to be fair, everyone who's ridden it since I've had it has said the same, so it just speaks to Whyte's experience in terms of design, in terms of racing, and just getting, oh, I've missed my pedal, those details so right. And that includes all the weatherproofing, that new seat clamp, lifetime warranty bearings, and of course the fact you're getting it through Whyte dealers as well. So, you know, proper service from really good shops like my local mates at Chevin and Sutton Bank Bikes. You know, that's where a lot of the value is in this. Not just a brilliant ride, but the backup that you get from buying from a proper shop. And that kind of sums it up, really. It's just such a well-balanced, well put together rider's bike. It really does feel like it feels like it's been custom tuned for me right from the get-go. As soon as I got on it, it's just like, oh yeah, instant connection. Actually, no, let's go back to what I said at the start. This is actually the second video I've done on it, because the first time, I don't know what was up. I was trying to remember data and I couldn't. I'd had a long day or whatever. And I was riding on Ilkley Moor and wasn't going, yeah, I mean, it was riding fine, but the videoing wasn't going that great because I just kept going, but it just rides so well, and forgetting what I'd shot. So I thought, do you know what? It started raining, so I couldn't film anyway. So I put the camera away and I just started riding it. And at that point, it's just like, oh yeah. This is just, it's right back to that motorbike noises, ripping around the corner, riding like you're a kid again vibe that Whyte do so well on their most sorted bikes. And this T140 RS really does inherit that S120 T130C vibe. And even the older hardtails that has just made them such a fan favourite of people who just like bikes that you can just ride day in, day out, and always just feel like they're super keen to be ridden, not just that you're keen to ride them. They seem to love riding as much as the rider does, and that is far beyond just numbers and kilograms or specifications. Another absolutely spot on job, folks. Proper good trail bike, this. So yeah, while, you know, definitely it makes more sense to buy a T160 with more travel, more capability, a bit stiffer, you know, more get out of jail capability than it does to ride this. But then mountain biking isn't always about doing the sensible thing, is it? In fact, it's pretty much about never doing the sensible thing, or it'll be roadies or racing time trials or something. And this bike encapsulates that brilliantly. So yeah, if you want to go for the meal deal where you got more travel and everything like that and not really get the sandwich you want, but kind of be, you know, get better value, you can do that. Or you can get something that's been properly, beautifully prepared. Am I making a sandwich analogy here? I think I am. Yeah. Well, this is your local independent thug sandwich company. It would be in Harrogate. Whereas, you know, your others, your Tesco, you know, your bigger, your carbon bike maybe is your Tesco meal deal. It's up to you. I mean, you're going to be full either way and full of mountain biking, which is a fabulous thing, but I know where I go. I do know where I go. By God, I'm making a meal. Oh, yeah, I am making a meal of this. So enough of these daft analogies. Massive thanks to Giro Cycling UK, to Pete, to Crud, and to Whyte. And huge thanks, as always, to my Patreon subscribers who pledge a small monthly amount to help grow the channel and let me invest time in making more of these videos and edits. And they get behind the scenes, ad-free and exclusive edits as a thank you. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider joining them. But subscribe anyway, click for notifications anyway, give this a thumbs up, like. We're nearly at 25,000 subscribers now. It'd be great to get over that this year. And hopefully my enthusiasm for bikes like this, but also for calling out the things that aren't so great, keeps you on the bikes that you're going to enjoy the most, and we're all going to have a fine time out on the trails. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven on Guy Kes TV on a world exclusive of Whyte's new T140 RS.